And welcome everybody to another edition of the GSMC Baseball Podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I am your host, Kenneth Grunfelder, and as always, it's great to have you guys here on this fine Friday. So, of course, we have a lot to discuss on today's show, but before that, I just want to remind you guys, for donations and tips and to get your comments recognized, make sure to go to streamelements.com/gsmcsportsnetwork./tip. Again, that really helps the show. And then for bonus coverage materials that are not covered by this live broadcast, make sure to go to patreon.com and search up GSMC Sports Network. So with that, let's get right into the rundown for today's show. So obviously, no games again today. We have to wait another day because obviously everything got finalized on Wednesday. There was no Game 3s yesterday. But we will go through the latest news and headlines around the league. There's some stuff to talk about regarding the Mets, of course, news that came out yesterday in their front office. Then we will get into impending free agents whose stock can rise from this postseason. So I'll go through that because there was an article that MLB came out with that I thought was interesting. So we'll go over that. We'll dive into the free agents that they're talking about. And then for the final two parts of the show, we'll go through the American League side of things, the division series. With those two games, we'll preview them, and I'll give my thoughts on that. I kind of went into it yesterday, but we'll continue that discussion today. And then I'll do the same thing with the National League to conclude the show. So that's pretty much the rundown for today. So let's get right into the first part of the show, which is discussing, some headlines. So some stuff with the Mets. Billy Epler, their general manager, decided to step down from his position. And, I was watching the Michael Kay show and they were talking about it. It just seems like now that the Mets brought in David Stearns over from the Brewers to be the president of baseball operations, it seemed like Billy Epler really was going to have to answer to him. And, they were basically saying, like, yeah, he basically just left because he's like, oh, so I basically have no power whatsoever and I only answer to you. And that's why he decided to leave and step down as general manager. So he's not going to be a part of the Mets anymore. I guess Met fans are happy about that. And it's just kind of funny because, he traded away all these guys. The Mets, obviously, they said to themselves they didn't really seem like they were contenders, so they decided to trade away guys like Tommy Pham, Justin Verlander, Max Scherzer, who are all currently in the playoffs still. And now he's gone. So, and David Stearns, it's basically going to be up to him now, I guess, to kind of reconstruct this team and get this team back on track. So, and also another thing that I saw too is apparently there's a report out there, it's a rumor, that Buck Showalter has some interest in taking the Angels job with Phil Nevin not returning as the manager there. So we'll see what happens with that. I don't know what the Angels are going to look like next year because there's going to be most likely no Ohtani. They could look to move Mike Trout. So I don't know what's appealing about that job. Unless, if both players come back, then there's the appeal right there. But if I'm Buck Showalter and those guys are not on the team next year, I wouldn't really want to manage that team. But then again, he might just be looking for, I don't know what his intentions are. He could just be looking for, another job, and he'll take whatever. So, but that was something I saw right before I got on as well. And obviously, the Mets, they're going to be looking for a new manager. There's rumors that it could be, Craig Counsell's name has been thrown around, but nothing is definite. He could stay with Milwaukee. So, but yeah, so that's the news there. Also, more stuff with the teams that got eliminated. So I saw a TikTok video, and it was of I guess it was a news network that has some affiliation with the Blue Jays, and the guy was basically talking about how uh, the Blue Jays, the analytics, and it's not John Schneider's fault that. Well, he actually did say John Schneider should be fired because he was the last line of defense. Because it all goes back to the manager and the role that they have now. They don't have as much of a say as they used to. It's more of a collaborative effort between them and the front office. And he said that John Schneider should be fired or should be gone because he was the last line of defense when it came to that decision of taking Jose Barrios out of the game against the Twins. And yeah, I mean, listen, everybody on social media, Blue Jays fans, like they want him gone. They want the general manager gone. And yeah, I mean, he was saying that the pitching staff for the Blue Jays is a World Series pitching staff. And he's right. Jose Barrios had great stuff. Chris Bassett, Kevin Gausman. I mean, the rotation's very good. It's just the Blue Jays could not get anything going offensively. And they were inches away from having a bases clearing double that would have changed the course of the series, really, against the Twins. But that didn't happen, and Matt Chapman ended up grounding into a double play. Also, they talked. He questioned the leadership of Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Bo Bichette. Now, again, I'm not. I don't know how it is in the clubhouse. I don't really know. And I'm not an expert on the Blue Jays, of course. I mean, I'm just seeing what's on the surface. I'm only able to scratch what's on the surface. But for Blue Jays fans, let me know what you guys think about those two guys. Is it right to question their leadership? And there's going to be a lot of question marks going into the offseason for the Blue Jays. Some guys are not going to be coming back. And they seem to have it again. They seem to be having the problem that the Yankees are having. These teams have a lot of talent, but it just seems like, and it's what Aaron Judge said the other day. Maybe they're looking at the wrong numbers. So maybe these teams are looking at the wrong numbers because the Blue Jays are kind of built the same way the Yankees are. Not a lot of left-handed hitters, a lot of sluggers. Good pitching. Well, Blue Jays pitching was better than the Yankees outside of Garrett Cole by himself. But the Blue Jays collectively as a pitching staff, you would take them over the Yankees rotation at the moment because of all the duds that the Yankees had in the rotation this year. Carlos Rodon and just injuries in general. So, but yeah, I mean they got a lot of similarities. And the Rays, I mean, they always have good regular seasons, but they just can't seem to get it done in the postseason, and that's why I really did not have them going far in the playoffs at all. Is because, it's same thing, different year. But I just thought that was interesting to come across that because with the Blue Jays, because it was very adamant about what happened with the Blue Jays. So, yeah, but that's really it when it comes to some of the headlines that I was looking at. Obviously, I talked about the Diamondbacks extending their general manager yesterday. So nothing really major at the moment. Obviously, Yamamoto, the Japanese pitcher, the Mets are one of the top teams that are targeting him. They're going to give him whatever he wants to try to get him to come to the Mets because the Mets right now have no rotation. But I think there's 10 teams in on him. The Yankees, I know, are in on him. I mean, all the big market teams, I'm assuming, are going to be trying to get him. But, listen, it might come down to whoever offers him the biggest contract. And the Mets definitely have the opportunity to do that because based on their owner. But, listen, I'm hoping my team is able to get him because we need another pitcher. Obviously, the lineup is a concern. But we need another starter because right now we got question mark. They got question marks in the rotation, the Yankees. So, but that was another thing that I didn't mention. So he's he's going to be teams are going to pursue him heavily, and we'll see what happens, and we'll be covering that within the coming months. Winter meetings, and I can't talk today for some reason. But yeah, and obviously I just want to remind you guys. So going forward, once again, this show, the baseball podcast, is just going to be on Fridays now. I will be starting the GSMC football podcast on Monday. That'll be Monday through Friday. And then Fridays I'll double up. I'll do the football podcast first, and then I'll do the baseball. So this is the final Friday of the full week of the baseball podcast. And then obviously next week I will be switching over to football. But baseball podcast will still be around. Still got the shorts on YouTube, so make sure to check that out. And yeah, so that's pretty much the news on that front. We also got a chat from Valvez BTW. I hope I pronounced that right. He's just saying what's up to him. But yeah, that's basically the news when it comes to the going forward for next week. So just keep an eye on that. But like I said, we'll still have content coming out for it every single day, just not, the full, hour live stream and then the Patreon. That's gonna be down to one day, which is definitely a big difference. But obviously, there's a lot going on. But next week I'll be doing the football, so make sure to tune in for that. But I just wish there were games yesterday to go over, but when it comes to baseball. But like I said, gotta wait another day, and we'll see how this weekend goes. Really looking forward to them. We got all 4 games on Saturday. Starting off with the Rangers and the Orioles, which I think, to me, that is the series I'm most excited for, because I don't know. I think those teams. I mean, that series and the Braves and the Phillies. Those two series are the best ones, and like I said yesterday, I think and those are the 1 seeds. I think they're on upset alert. I really do. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but like I said yesterday, the Phillies, they beat the Braves last year in the playoffs, and the Rangers. I just feel like they have the best chance to knock off one of the teams that were on a bye, for these playoffs. But like I always say, we'll just have to wait and see. Let me know what you guys think, though. What series are you most excited for? And yeah, so that's pretty much it when it comes to the first part of the show. So when we come back from our first break, we are going to discuss the impending free agents that are still in the postseason, and whose stock can rise, based off of what they do in these playoffs. So that'll be the second part of the show when we get back from our first break. So we'll take it right now. So like I just said, stick around, and when we come back, we will talk about the free agents whose stock can rise from their postseason performances. So stick around, and we will be right back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast.